helps it.
And Saturday morning, Adam, we were guessing there on the intro in case we screwed that up royally. Let's just announce it. We always announce our faults.
18 I've ever had, just so you know.
Well, I did, but so intern's listening, and I'm only at like 40 seconds, and she's like, they just said welcome to the show. So I'm like, maybe it's not a minute 18. I don't know.
We felt like it's the 18th minute 18 I've ever.
Yeah, right. We announce our faults. We're not ashamed of it at all. So I'm Steve McCollum. Of course, you got Adam Michaels again on location there in a brick-sided house.
I'm in the outdoor studios today.
Yeah, the outdoor.
I want the ambiance of the 70-degree weather.
Oh, you keep bragging about that.
70 degrees.
There they are. There he is again.
Dude, you don't need a bang. All right, go play.
Oh man, 7-year-old and a bang? That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be very bad, right?
Right. So you'd be running around like you'd be building that brick house behind you.
Oh, more than normal. More than normal.
So Adam, in case you didn't notice, in the Palacios Gestalt Production Studios, I did some rearranging. And those with keen eyes, I only put 2 things up, but I did rearrange it a little bit. So.
I'm sure that people are. We could have a Twitter game about it,
right? Like what did Steve? Like Roger Goodell moving Mike Dicker around during the draft.
There you go.
So I put up my Super Bowl XLIII, of course, February 1st, 2009, when the Arizona Cardinals lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, last second touchdown by the Steelers there. So I have that picture up, which is depressing, but there you go. And then I, of course, have my Golden Knights thing that I have up for a while. Company logo, of course, and then Sun Devils. And that's pretty much my rearranging. That's what I did today.
What I was going to do, Steve, I was going to have one of the kids stand behind me.
Yes, I know.
And we were just going to put the Burley perfect game here for all of you doubters of the Hall of Famer. One day he'll sign this. One thing that bothers me is it wasn't AJ that was the catcher that day. It was Castro was the catcher that day. I thought it should have been AJ catching that.
And that's a perfect game plaque, right?
Yes, this is from the perfect game. Me and Zach were actually driving around in Tampa during this game, and this is like when the 4G wasn't there, it wasn't even 3G. You're trying to drive around and get signals for stuff because I wanted the home broadcast and stuff.
This was the days before every
app stopped failing, and it was just bad.
This was before every McDonald's and Starbucks had Wi-Fi.
Yes, exactly. 2009, July 23rd, 2009.
Why would they have a different catcher on there? Was the other catcher not part of the union?
No, it was AJ. They just gave AJ a day off. It was one of those, Ozzy always liked to twinkle with the lineup and stuff, and it was just a day off for him.
I did get because like when the Diamondbacks won it in 2001, the main catcher, I don't remember his name now, but he wasn't on any of the T-shirts or anything like that because he wasn't a union member because he came in when the strike happened and he was a SCAD player, so he wasn't part of the union, and so he wasn't on any official NFL merchandise or anything like that. And it started with a G. I can't remember his name now, but yeah. So I was just curious if that was the same case there, but whatever. So I got all nostalgic for the White Sox when I sent you that video on Twitter. John Boy does a good job of breaking down baseball. He's really a fun watch because he does, controversial plays and good plays, and he breaks it down pretty hilariously, right? So if you like that, check out John Boy on Facebook and YouTube. But I sent you that clip, right, with Mark Burley where he gets thrown out and Joe West.
You sent me that clip and my blood pressure like skyrocketed, and I was so mad instantly. I got Hawk Harrelson in my head saying, "Damn you, Joe West!" and then you had to throw ice, or you had to put like gasoline on the fire, Steve, and have to tell me Hernandez was in that game too.
Well, if you notice, I waited a little bit and then put that on the second one on the comment section, so you wouldn't see that right off the bat. But yeah, it's an infuriating. Like every once in a while, a clip will come across to where I just get infuriated by the umpires or whatever, and that's one of them, man. My blood was boiling. Man, if you throw me out and I want to have a conversation with you, you do not turn your back and walk to right field with your fat ass shaking as you're walking away, and then you turn around and fold your arms like you're, Mr. Badass or whatever. No. If I was Burley, I would have followed him every place he went, man. If he went to the shitter, I would have been in the shitter with him. I would have been so pissed off.
Right,
I would have murdered him.
What's the difference at that point, right?
Yeah, that's what I don't get about baseball, right? Is umpires are so big on don't show me up. Like all these videos I watch or of people getting thrown out are videos of umpires thinking they got shown up, so they throw the guy out. But then umpires turn around and show players up. It doesn't work that way, man. So.
Well, that's always been Joe West's thing. I mean,
I know.
Is there, like, all right? So in Chicago, we hate Joe West. There's no doubt about
Everybody
it.
hates Joe West.
Is it nationwide? Is it a whole
Yes.
thing? He's just that way to everybody.
Yeah, I think non-baseball fans are like, I don't even watch baseball, but that fat umpire, I can't stand him. It's like it's just awful. It's just, but then baseball puts up with it. That's the more infuriating part. I know he got fined after that game because he did. I actually looked it up again to remember what he got fined. I can't remember now, but but that doesn't do anything. You got to get rid of guys like that are just garbage. That they think they're part of the game, and he's laughing at
like teachers. They're just locked in their job after so long. Like after 5 years, you can't fire them.
Yeah, there's a union and stuff. You can't get rid of them and everything. It's ridiculous. You could say he's the worst umpire. You can show all the stats about how he misses calls, shows people up, doesn't do his job properly. You can do all of that stuff, and the union will still say, "All right, he'll start Tuesday." He's still a crew chief on Tuesday. They could do stuff like they did with Angel Hernandez, where they can say, you're not going to go to the World Series anymore, and then look what that gets them. It's like, so the guy can umpire any game in Major League Baseball, and then they don't let him go to the World Series, and then what do they get for it? They're called racist, and Angel Hernandez is suing them because they're keeping I think he's Cuban, but whatever. They're keeping a minority down and oppressing him, so they're all Major League Baseball's racist now. Like, that's the thanks they get for keeping Angel Hernandez, the worst umpire on the face of the planet, still umpiring. The thanks Major League Baseball gets is a lawsuit saying they're doing it. No, they're doing it because you suck. They're doing it because you're god awful and nobody likes you.
They do suck.
Right.
Some of the umps are
so
terrible.
I didn't announce it all.
Umpires.
This time I announced both of us on Wednesday night's show. I didn't announce myself. I had like a couple people be like, "Who's talking right now?" on the text line. It was pretty fun. I was like, "Oh, I guess I should." So I introduced myself in the second one. I actually introduced myself, but I didn't introduce the show. So this is, of course, the main event, and we are coming to you live right now. I'm in the Gestalt Production Studios here in Arizona. Adam is in the Gestalt Production Exterior Studios in beautiful Southern Illinois. I don't know what town you're in, so I'm just gonna.
Well, see, you could say Grant Park, and people think I'm like in an actual Grant Park, which is kind of cool.
Well, that's why I said I'm in Arizona, because if I said Mesa, half the country would be like, "Oh man, how close is that to Phoenix?" Like it's Phoenix, man. I'm in Phoenix, like.
You're basically there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but oh, so what are you, an hour? I'm 30 minutes outside of downtown Phoenix right now, and then they're like, oh man, you're that close? I didn't know. Like I'm that close. I'm right there. Everybody relax. Everybody relax. So so let's get this boy started on a Saturday morning. First of all, Adam, how you doing? I should have asked.
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's enjoying the weather. Birds are chirping. Trains are driving by.
So I know, right? So while we're getting ready, a train was choo-chooing through. Choo-choo. So it was 112 here yesterday. It was the fourth earliest that we've been 112 degrees since they've been keeping score. And I can't remember. I think they've been keeping track of weather since like 1912 or something. And it's the fourth earliest we hit 112. And it was ungodly hot. Like, I didn't even want to go out to the pool yesterday. I just sat in the house. It was so hot.
Sat in the house and said, "Man, it's hot out there."
Right? I glared out the window at the pool and was like, "Oh," as it's boiling. The pool's boiling.
There's no cold shock at that point.
No,
it's just hot.
It's a funny phenomenon where you turn on the shower, and there's no cold water. It's all just warm and hot. Like whatever. So you enjoy that there. But let's get into some exciting sports news here on Saturday. Sports are coming back, of course. Let's go. What do you want to talk first? Yeah, let's do a round robin. You want to do a round robin? What do you want to talk first?
Let's you know what? Let's go with the NFL. It's always fun. It's always good to talk about the National Football League. They always make news. They're on top of things. They want you to talk about them, Steve, all the time.
Right. I just wanted to ask you because I didn't have a logo loaded up, so I had to get ready for it. So that's a little behind the scenes there for everybody.
I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, I had nothing. I had nothing in the preview screen, so I had to stall for a second, and
no worries.
I'm slacking. So yeah, did you see? So Dave Portnoy, El Presidente of Barstool, at the NFL draft, Roger Goodell announces that they're going to do a charity for somebody to win it, and they can watch an NFL game in Roger Goodell's basement on that dirty, nasty chair that he was like falling asleep in, down in his basement. And it was a charity thing, and lo and behold, $250,000. Guess who wins it? Dave Portnoy of the Barstool fame, and he can't stand the NFL, and he can't stand Roger Goodell, and he wins it, right? And everybody's like, there's no way the NFL is going through with this. We all knew they wouldn't. But the thing that bothers me the most is then they come out and they say he's not going to do it, and the NFL is going to give him his money back, or not charge him for his money. And then they're going to give $250,000 to their 6 charities from the draft night. And then they're going to choose a first responder to do this NFL Monday Night Football thing, right, with Roger Goodell. And the NFL came out and said the reason why they're not doing Portnoy is because he failed their background check. And guess all the reasons why he failed their background checks, Adam.
DUI?
No! All the times he did stuff to the NFL is why he failed it. So every example of why he failed is because he got arrested for Deflategate. Roger Goodell, he hates Roger Goodell. Let's start with that. Like, he hates him. And then ESPN and the NFL are, don't want anything to do with, ESPN's the competition, and the NFL's like going after him, right? And they don't want him to like do any college football game bowls or anything like that. So he goes in and he breaks in. He doesn't break in. Roger Goodell announces that he wants to talk to any fans about Deflategate. So Portnoy shows up to the NFL offices because he says he'll talk to any fan anytime. So he shows up to talk to him and then gets kicked out. I think he got arrested or whatever. Then he got accused of falsifying Super Bowl credentials, and they kicked him out of a Super Bowl. A couple other things. But everything they gave was stuff he's done in the NFL. And my question is, Adam, so he wins charity. NFL wants nothing to do with him. And instead of just coming out and saying, hey, you're not eligible, you're an asshole, whatever, you're not eligible, we're not going to do this with you, and this is what we're going to do, they actually hid behind their background check. They made him do a background check, and then their excuse was, oh, you didn't pass the background check. I didn't even need to do a background check on this guy to know the things that they said he did. And I'm not a Barstool fan, and I know what he's done. I didn't even need a background check. So they're hiding behind a background check to get out of this, which they probably had to do legally. But I just find it hilarious that they're like, oh, no, you failed your background check for these reasons. The NFL knew. Roger Goodell knows why he's going to say no, right?
Well, yeah, he knows. But, I mean, like you were saying, it's got to be for the legalities of it, because he probably could have sued if it was just because we don't like you thing, instead of, I mean, it does say that it was, in the rules, the fine print was there for the background.
I mean, he filled out his stuff and sent them that. They sent him the information and said, we have to do a background check on you, blah, 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 and everything. I just think it's cowardly and stupid. I'm not a Roger Goodell hater, but I'm also not, a supporter. I think he's way out of touch with reality and a lot of aspects of things. But
but I can kind of see
it's weaselly.
Goodell not wanting him in his home, right? I mean, it's like that would not be a good thing, right?
I'm not blaming the NFL for not wanting to do it. I'm blaming the NFL that they hid behind a background check to say why.
That's got to be like just from their legal department.
Yeah, I know, but like find out. Oh no, man! The second he won that, Goodell was literally like, second he won that, Goodell was like, this ain't happening. Get me out of this. This guy cannot be in the room with me. it's just my excuse to call the NFL Weasley for doing that. That's all I'm doing.
That's nothing wrong.
And I can't stand, like I said, I'm not a Barstool guy at all. I follow his pizza reviews just because I find them funny at times. But every once in a while I watch one of his videos when he's in quarantine and is, rating frozen pizza and opening up boxes. But, other than that, I don't really follow the guys. I don't care either way. But he's aggressive. He puts his name out there, gets his company out there, and ESPN and the NFL have banned him from a bunch of stuff. So I totally get his. He's just going to be a thorn in their side until they finally start acting like adults. So I get it.
Yeah, and gave him a lot of publicity, right? I mean, more so than can't buy it. Right?
For a guy that started a gambling site back in whatever it was, and then he just sold, I think, half of it or 3/4 of it to some other gambling site for like $600 billion or something ridiculous like that. You can argue with that, That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it's a great way to make business.
My favorite part is when it comes out and he gets denied, he does an emergency press conference, which is like his move. But then he's like obviously in Miami or someplace on a dock with $1 million yachts around him, and he's just walking around shirtless. And he's doing an emergency press conference from the dock of the I just find it funny. Just the dichotomy between like Roger Goodell, if he was going to do a press conference, right, he gets buttoned up and he goes in front of a microphone. Important that he's just like at a dock, obviously enjoying life. He's like, let's do a conference real quick.
Right.
Just cracks me up.
He's on his Instagram, just go ahead and put it out there.
Right. It just cracks me up, the difference between them, and like one's polished and everything. It just cracks me up. But last year he was trying to sponsor a bowl game, and he was awarded the sponsorship, and then ESPN stepped in and was like, nope, you're not going to be part of the bowl series if you put him, because ESPN didn't want obviously their competition as a sponsor on Could you imagine ESPN announcing the Barstool Bowl?
Right.
So
presented by ESPN.
He does stuff like that because he's getting shut out, but at the same time, I get it and everything. But yeah. So the other news in the NFL that is going on is and this kind of cracked me up because this should follow up under an obvious news, right? Did you see that Cam Newton? Okay, I'll just read the headline. With leaked sources saying that the market to sign Cam Newton has cooled over the past month, the veteran quarterback is expected to take his time before joining a team, a source tells ESPN Jeremy Fowler. So nobody wants to sign me. So I'm gonna, you know what, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and take a break for a minute. I'm going to, hey, buddy. I'm going to go ahead and take my time picking my options here. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. And has the market really cooled, or did it ever heat up? Because I don't even remember anybody really. There hasn't been the talk of signing him. So how can the market cool down when you never turn the stove on to begin with, right?
I just love articles like this because obviously it's just trying to get Cam Newton's name out there and everything, but it just makes him look ridiculous, right? Does he have a glove on?
It does. What was that?
Does he have a glove on?
Yeah, I was doing some picking up some yard stuff, and he. Okay, go play.
You were picking up dog poop, weren't you?
No, it was
You said yard stuff.
Yard stuff.
So yeah, I know. I just found this funny that Now the only team that I did a little research today, like 5 minutes of research, if that long.
So that was actually 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, while I was getting yelled at in the car right over here, I did some research, and apparently the only team that is known to have talked to him, and it's not even officially known, it's just kind of known, is that the New England Patriots talked to him early in his free agency. Of course, nothing happened with that. And then he had a physical in Atlanta on March 23rd, but that was coordinated by the Panthers and, of course, his agency before they released him, I believe, just to show he was healthy. But yeah, so nobody's even talking to him or anything from what I found anywhere. But he's going to take his time signing with somebody, Adam.
You just got to weigh his options. wait for the phone to ring, basically. That's what I'm saying, you know. But hey, I'm still here. I'm doing this on my terms, people, not your terms. I'll let you know when I'm ready to sign.
Do you think?
Give my agent a call.
Like, I'm not making fun of Cam for this. Like, do you think anybody, like any NFL guys that haven't signed yet, do you think like you think they're either calling their agent like 3 times a day asking if anybody's called, or do you think every time their phone rings they do that? What? Like no matter what they're doing, they have to like grab their phone real quick.
I think it's a combination of both. They're probably on the phone with their agent and they're waiting for the phone to ring, and as soon as it rings, it's like it's a random survey and they're answering the call. Just
it's like that. If you've seen that movie Cable Guy, the Cable Guy who was played by Jim Carrey is sitting there and he's like calling and he's like, "Oh hey man, I just see if you're around." Like nine or 10 calls, and like one of them's like, "Hey man, I just went and took a leak. I left the phone for a minute. I've just seen if you call back." I don't know.
That's great.
That's what I find funny, but because we've all been in that situation where you're waiting for a company to call you back or something with just anything and nothing. So that's the NFL news, Adam.
That's all we got.
Well, I mean, they're opening up their deal. Coaches are supposed to be allowed to go back next week. It's opened up for players that are injured to get treatment, all that stuff. No, this is always a dead period for NFL because they would have just finished their off-season whatever voluntary camp. Yeah, they would have finished that up. The rookies would be done, and then it's kind of a lull here, and then training camp starts in what?
6 weeks, right?
Yeah, 4-6 weeks.
Yep.
So kind of a dead area. Most rosters are set. That's why I found that Cam Newton story so funny. Is he's going to get picked up if somebody gets hurt in the preseason or something. And I'm getting like the death look over here. And it's kind of a dead time, Adam. It's kind of a dead time.
It's all right. Sorry, we're 6 weeks away. Maybe everything will start on time by then.
Dude,
hopefully.
Are you on this bandwagon still? Everything is starting on time, buddy. Everything.
I don't know, man. I just don't know. Look, I don't want to get into it, but you saw like the whole Ozark thing, right? Where all the cases jumped up after that whole thing. There's just all this stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Cases are going to jump up because people get sick.
Yeah, well, hopefully. We'll see. One sport's got to come back first, so it may be the National Football
It's
League.
back, man. NASCAR's rocking and rolling. They got Bristol this Sunday. It's rocking and rolling. Golf starts next week. I'm sorry. I tried doing that with a serious look on my face, and
it didn't work.
Nah, I struggle with it because
I tried not to roll my eyes too far back in my head.
Right, I'm naming all the non-manly sports here. All the sports you don't think of giant warriors in are back, but nothing else. So, well, Adam, I'm going to go take a break real quick because I did not see any of this. I couldn't find they're online. Their Twitter and their promoting their sport was god awful. I only got who won matches and little small clippets. They are nothing like the WWE. But go ahead, man. Give us the review of AEW Double or Nothing. Give us the highlights. Was it worth buying? Go.
Yes, it was definitely worth buying. Some of the matches were really great.
I'm kidding.
TNT has there's a first time ever TNT champion, Cody Rhodes.
Shocker.
The gold.
Yeah.
Hey, don't be shocking that. That was a good match. The belt was not finished due to the pandemic, so the internet really took a crap on the belt because it was not plated and kind of looked pretty generic at that point. But it was a great match with Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes should have taken a crap on that belt. That was god awful. That was horrible. You want to be a big player, and you come up with that rinky-dink Mickey Mouse op. Come on, that's ridiculous.
See, there's a pandemic going on. It is not essential workers to make championship title belts.
That's funny, man, because the Fiend's got a $600 one out there that's been made during a pandemic. So,
well, that was before the pandemic started, Steve. Come on. One of the highlight matches for me was MJF versus Jungle Boy, Mr. Perry's son.
Yeah, you like that one because you kind of poo-pooed it in the preview.
Yeah, no, I know the guys. I like MJF, and he's great on the mic. He's probably the best heel in wrestling at this point with his mic work.
More than King Corbin?
Yeah, I think so. But see, you won't do it, Steve, because you have that WWE bias.
That's fighting words right there.
AEW doesn't really do anything for you, so I couldn't see you putting him over. But yes, MJF is better than King Corbin.
I am open-minded. I'm willing to. I'm not spending money on this, but if somebody wants to send me a link of something that I can't find, because I searched for stuff and it's very limited on there, so they kept it under wraps. They either kept it under wraps or nobody cared to share the AEW Double or Nothing clips like WWE does. So I'm just saying because there was very slim pickings.
For WWE, you're only paying $9 for it, $10 a month for it. The AEW wanted to protect itself. I mean, they showed lots of highlights on Wednesday night on Dynamite.
Yeah.
If you would have watched Dynamite,
oh yeah, no.
The TNT app, and you can get plenty of the highlights.
Well, first of all, I'm busy on Wednesday nights, Adam. I'm doing a radio show.
I know. I'm saying on the app, Steve. It's there for downloading right there. You just stream it live.
All right, I'll
shut this whole show down. Go watch it and come back.
I'll go load it up and I will watch it. I will watch what they did on Wednesday night and report back. But yeah.
Okay, there you go. The AEW World Title match between Jon Moxley and Brody Lee, and this was a really good match because it was so different than what we saw with them in the WWE. It was a lot more violent without the blood. They didn't go bloody, which was good, but it was still just these guys just went all balls to the wall. Having JR on commentary for this one was really good, and looking through my notes on this, I really kind of pissed on JR a lot during the show. I was like texting with a buddy of mine throughout the show. JR did some bad, like some stupid. You know how the Undertaker does that walk on the top rope?
Yeah.
When he does the axe angle. So when they did that with AEW, he referenced some wrestler from like the 1920s that no one ever heard of. And I'm like, why wouldn't you reference Undertaker JR? Why? So, but this match here was really good. You got Jon Moxley retaining his title, which was a little different because with Brody just entering into AEW, I was surprised that they let him loose clean. But overall, man, it was a really great card. So you check out AEW from Dynamite on Wednesday night. Watch it. You'll enjoy it. Dynamite was actually a really good show.
I told you, I'll log in and watch it.
But,
you're probably overhyping it.
AEW.
Why?
Did you check out? Have you seen Raw with the fans?
No, I missed everything this week, unfortunately.
Right, so Raw actually put hockey glass up and had wrestlers there. It just looked weird. Like AEW's done the.
Hold on, dude. Background. Did they slam people into the hockey glass though?
No, there was no. There was no checks against the board or anything.
I just got excited, dude. I was like, did they throw ice down?
Well, no, there was no ice. It was just glass.
Yeah, it was the first. Yeah, because Monday was a holiday, so I didn't get a chance to watch it, and I was busy all week. So, like, how many fans were there?
They probably had. Well, there wasn't fans. It was probably like 30 people.
Yeah, because it was
NXT guys.
Yeah, it was like 20% or 10%, or they could open it up.
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you. We're not getting off this AEW crap really quick.
Not crap, Steve.
Why does Matt Hardy? What's going on with him in AEW? Because he has to come out and reiterate that he's happy to be working at AEW wrestling for Tony Khan on Wednesdays. So what happened?
There was the thing was like the internet was just like thought that is because Matt Hardy had all his creative control with TNA and they he did the first cinematic matches at the Hardy compound and stuff, and it came out where that Matt's like commenting more on WWE stuff than AEW right now. Well, his brother Jeff was like storyline arrested for DUI, like having alcohol in his car and hit a little too close for home, and Matt kind of started crapping on it, and he was referencing WWE a little bit too much in his social media, probably. And,
well, he was. Yeah, he was. I mean, especially because Jeff's back over there, and
and
all that. But
that just I think it was just a reach by the internet, and Matt. Matt, he always he reacts to the internet more than most of the professional wrestlers do.
It was
so he felt that he needed to come out.
Well, probably because Tony Khan made him, because we're paying you. Because Tony Khan comes out, of course, the owner for AEW, and they're sensitive to being known as where WWE guys go to die, they know that's the league. But he comes out and he says, quote, "You're one of the greatest pros I've worked with across sports. What a privilege it is to spend Wednesdays with you. Thank you for everything you do for AEW, our fans and staff, and your fellow wrestlers weekly, as you not only lead by example, but you are generous with your time and mind." If that isn't, I told Matt Hardy to shut the F up if he wants to continue to get checks. And statement on the planet, I don't know what is.
So, yeah, I mean, you're probably right. It probably did come from the upper echelons there. But, I mean, it's Matt Hardy. I mean, he was even vocal when he was with WWE.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I don't get. That's why I brought it up was, you know what you're doing when you're signing the guy, right? And then it's even worse now. It's different if his brother Jeff isn't in WWE because he's injured or on drugs or drinking or whatever he's on, whatever's wrong with him this week. It's different if he's not the face of Raw every week, which he is now, right? I mean, or SmackDown, whatever. I think it's SmackDown. He's basically the face of them right now. He's on every episode, He was in the last pay-per-view match, all of that stuff. So now it's even harder to separate the two. And they know what they're assigning, and now they're having a problem with it, is what I'm getting at.
It's always the Hardys are always at the center of controversy for one way or the other. There's no bad news when it comes bad publicity for the Hardy Boys.
No.
But real quick from Wednesday night's Dynamite.
Yep.
The best thing was during the Stampede match, it was the Elite versus the Inner Circle. And the Inner Circle lost, right? But they had their chant because it was filmed at a football. It was filmed at Jaguar Stadium.
Yep.
And when the Inner Circle came out, they had football uniforms on, all with the pads and everything. It was great. So you know how they make the T-shirts for the losing team in the Super Bowl and they ship them off to Africa?
Yeah.
Well, the Inner Circle had their winning T-shirts on during the AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night. So that part was really great, and they touched on it during the announcing, and I just started laughing. I'm like, that's so great. Yeah. Chris Jericho's telling them they can buy their Inner Circle winner T-shirts at AEWWrestling.com. It was great.
All right, you're hyping it up pretty big here. I'll check it out.
Hey,
I will sit down and watch it.
Check out Wednesday night. It'll only take you an hour and 32 minutes, Steve. That's all it'll take you. And you can watch it. You can do it. I know you got it in your time.
I know, but that's my point. Schedule. That's my point here is I have an hour and 30 minutes, but do I want to spend it on that?
You do, Steve.
All right, I will. I know. I poo-poo it.
Instead of watching a basketball game from 2006,
which I don't do.
I watch wrestling from 2020,
which I don't do. I'll pay attention. Like I said, I give them a hard time and everything just because it's easy. To be honest with you, it's low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit. I was just gonna say.
But no, I'll tune in and watch. I'm not, like I said, I'm not paying $50 for it, and no stretch of imagining. And that's the issue. And you said it right. Is WWE Network's $9.99, $10.42 with tax or something like that in Phoenix. And so why am I'm not paying $50 for something?
Well, but at least I'll say this: AEW is only making me pay $50 every 4 months. 3-4 months, you know what I mean?
That's $200 a year.
Well, the WWE's 120, so if I only order 2 pay-per-views,
there you go. 200 is more than 120.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't buy them. Well, this one I had to buy. I was invested, and then I had some streaming issues with my back.
Oh, hey, we talked about this. Shh.
Well, no, I purchased it correctly, so I can.
Oh, okay. Then you can talk about
me going through back channels to get on this. The streaming wasn't participating. It was buffering too much. I got upset, and I'm like, damn it, I'll just order it. And I ordered it.
No, that's nice.
I supported the product during the pandemic.
Do the kids watch it with you?
Yes, sir. It was... Well...
Do they like it?
They watched about... you know what it was? Let's say it was kind of... They had You have Ethan's attention span with it, where it's maybe 2-3 matches. He was probably 1.5.
Well, that's what a coincidence. That's probably how far I'll get with AEW too.
Hey, well, so you had the attention span of a 7-year-old, Steve. That's what you have then at that point.
You walked right into that one.
Yes, I did.
I don't think it's the kids. I think it's the product.
Hold on a second. Hey, Tanner, I don't need the background. I don't need the background noise for the bottles.
That's all. Let's all watch Adam yell at his kids.
In other words, go away.
Oh, it's so great having them in the background. It's hilarious. So
they have a milk jug full of bottle caps, and he's sitting there shaking it. I'm like, I don't need the background noise.
Right. So I was wondering what that was, but I can hear it too. So let's get to the National Basketball Association. I had to think for a minute on what NBA stood for. So that's how long it's been since we've really dealt with them, right?
Yes, and everything doesn't point towards a Bulls playoff run during this one. So
they're one of.
Did you see my NHL post yesterday, Steve? I made one for you.
Well, save it till when we get to the NHL.
All right, I made a post for you.
Right there. So the NBA on they're planning a Thursday vote this Thursday coming up. Which owners are expected to approve. I'm sorry, this is last Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which. The owners were expected to approve that Adam Silver, he proposed 4 ways to come back to restart their season up. And the owners voted that they'd like, to go forward so they can vote on one of the 4 to go through. And 2 of them are just garbage, proposals. Like nobody's going to vote for that, right? But 2 of them are interesting, but they need 3/4 majority of the owners to approve a return-to-play plan. And an overwhelming majority of owners expressed a desire to do precisely that on both the Board of Governors call on Friday and later in interviews with ESPN. So basically the owners are done posturing and they want to get the league started. So they have 4 proposals they're going to have to vote on. The one that is favored, and I actually think is the best plan myself when I look at it, is a 22-team plan that will include teams that are currently within 6 games of the final playoff spot in each conference, sources said. So that means New Orleans, Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, San Antonio would land in Orlando, because that's where they're talking about playing, under those guidelines. And Washington would be the only team within 6 games of the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. And I didn't look it up, but I think Washington is like 10 games below 500 or something ridiculous like that. Obviously, it's 6 games, but you're 6 games behind your 8th playoff spot, and you're the only team that qualifies in the East. Ridiculous, right? So,
yeah, well, the East is crap. We know that.
Oh, exactly. So that's the team that seems to be the one that's favored by owners to go. But 2 things on that. One, San Antonio is going to miss the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years or something ridiculous like that. Except for if that plan goes, then they go to the playoffs, right? And then of course Phoenix gets in, which whatever. They weren't going to make it the first time. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Let's just go with that 22 plan because that's the favored one. That's the one expected to pass this week. What do you think about this?
I think it is a way back to basketball. Obviously, right now, there's no way that you're going to finish the regular season. You got some players that are saying that if they come back just for the regular, to play out the regular season for the TV money, that they're not, a lot of the players aren't even interested in the teams that aren't, relevant for this. I'm kind of interested in what it does to the draft in the lottery system.
Well, they didn't.
Now you're going to have less teams.
Yeah, they didn't describe any of that yet on that in the articles that I was reading on it. But I mean, basically, it's like hockey where you make the playoffs, you play, and if you don't make the playoffs, you don't go back, right? There's no point in having the Charlotte Bobcats, who have won like 12 games this year, come back and play 7 games, so.
Yeah, no, I agree, and this is something, I'm for it. Anything that gets us back to normal levels and stuff like that, I'm like totally for. And it'll be, I just want something to come back that's one of the 4 major sports. That's what I need to see in my life is one of these sports to come back.
The interesting thing is, of the 22, right? So you have your teams that have qualified for the playoffs, right? What is it? 8? I think it's 8 in each conference or something, right? Yeah, it's an 8 seed or 1.
Yeah.
And so, those guys are in the playoffs. So these teams that get, to make it the 22 playoffs instead of 16, they'll play each other. Basically, it's like a regular season type atmosphere, but it's a playoff atmosphere. So they will. Is that train going through where you're sitting right there?
No, it's about 3/4 of a mile away. Steve.
Wow. All right. Sounds. I was afraid a train was coming to attack you.
It's just like a train capital of the world, Steve. They come here all night.
Right. So
I don't even notice it.
So the question that so like Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, Portland, they'll come back and basically it's like a regular season thing for them to see who can qualify to get into the actual playoffs, right, and play as a seed there. So it's an interesting format. The reason why I bring it up, other than it's obviously NBA news and everything, is the NHL this week came out and said that they're coming back. They don't have a date. Oh, by the way, the NBA is looking at July 1st being when they're back for this to all start going here and everything. But so
wasn't it?
I
thought it was the 31st, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, 31st. You're right. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, you had me confused. Like, wait a minute.
Sorry. 31st.
I know I did that.
Did I say the
Those
first?
are my 45 minutes of research.
Well, there you go. Well, your research is wrong. I just make things up.
Oh, okay.
Hey, part of all this is just pretending like you know.
That's right. Fake it till you make it.
So the compare and contrast, because the NHL came out this week and they don't have an actual start date yet, but they came out with their plan where same thing where you have your 2, 4, 6, and Chicago Blackhawks would be part of this. We talked about it last Saturday. That plan was approved and moving forward. They just need to get a start date. But for some reason, I'm more excited for the NHL setup and everything than I am for the NBA one. I don't know why. And I think it's because NHL teams that are going into this are within striking distance. Like if the season hadn't ended, you would have had a battle for like that last playoff spot from like 4 or 5 teams, and now they're getting a chance to go in and play. Whereas in the NBA, like 6 games out of the 8th playoff spot is getting in. I just feel like it's ridiculous. They don't deserve to go.
Now, Steve, I have to say, for my first time ever, I've been on Twitter for quite a many years, and I posted an NHL Twitter yesterday. I posted a picture of the Hawks and Oilers, NHL playoffs, and hashtagged it all in.
I know.
I was ready to go. I was so ready, Steve.
I'm
ready for this playoff action.
Are you really?
No.
Oh, I actually am. I can't wait. Like I'm excited. Like, why isn't this happening
I know
now?
you are. That was pretty much why I sent the tweet out yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll fake Steven to think that I'm in on this one.
Well, dang it. You should be. It's going to be the first one back, man. And it's going to be the most exciting anyway, so.
Yeah, no, you know what? I will actually enjoy hockey playoffs this year, I think. At least until the Hawks are knocked out, probably. But
quickly,
But the
hopefully.
Hawks versus Edmonton, I'm looking forward to that series. The Hawks have had Edmonton's number this year. They've already won twice against them. They're ready to go.
Yeah, but just because they beat the Oilers means they have to play somebody else good, too, so. That's the problem.
Hey, in hockey, Steve, you're the one that's told me for weeks that the 8 seed can beat the 1 seed. You've been telling me this for weeks. Steve, you sold me on this.
But can a 12 seed beat a 1 seed?
This whole thing, I am all in.
But can a 12 seed beat a 1 seed? That's unknown.
Well, if an 8 can beat it, why can't it? In the NCAA, if a 16 can beat a 1, anything can happen to Steve. We are coming out of a pandemic. This is unprecedented time.
Oh, breaking out the unprecedented time comment. I was gonna respond to your tweet there and be like, name one player on either team.
I would have Googled it.
Yeah, see? Your face was priceless.
Jonathan Toews. I got 2 right there off the top of my head. And Wayne Gretzky is not on the Oilers anymore.
No,
that would have been 3.
Not since '84 or something like that. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's the Edmonton Oilers that I remember. Okay.
So here's the cool thing.
But I'm ready for anything. Anything sports wise, go ahead and put it on my TV that I can't Google and find out who won.
Oh yeah. Are you watching a lot of stuff that you can Google and what comes on?
No, I won't do that. I'm just saying. I've watched more NASCAR in the past few weeks than I probably ever have.
Well, gee, it's on every night of the week.
Usually I turn in for like the last 5 minutes unless it's Talladega. But I've been watching a little bit more NASCAR than I normally would have because it's there. And,
Dega.
And it's Fox. I like the Fox broadcast, so of NASCAR better than the NBC broadcast myself.
Yeah, I'm on that page too, but a lot of NASCAR fans tend to like the NBC one more than the Fox one, so we're different.
Isn't that because it's junior? Isn't that just the junior bias?
I think a lot of it has to do with announcing because, of course, we weren't talking about NASCAR, so my brain's not on that. But there was an announcer on NASCAR, not Dale. Shoot, it'll come to me. That an old NASCAR guy that a lot of people didn't like. He said boogity boogity boogity. That guy. A lot of NASCAR fans didn't like him, kind of a deal, and they like you said they like the NBC announcers a little better.
That was not Dale.
Yeah, well, you're not a NASCAR diehard, so
I know Carter hates the boogity boogity boogity.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that was the best part of watching NASCAR on Fox with the Dale Waltrip boogity boogity.
Yeah, so I think that's a lot of it. Also, to be honest with you, is the graphics, the pregame shows, a little bit more gimmicky on Fox. Fox has the way I describe it is Fox has a little bit more fun with their coverage, and NBC's more of for diehard fans, like, here you go, guys. Whereas Fox tends to explain things a little bit more, for the casual fans, stuff like that. So I think that has a lot to do with it. You might be right.
Yeah, we took a right-hand turn on this one, so
No, I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
You like that? Did you? That
was
good, right?
So in hockey, one thing that I find fascinating is obviously you got the Vegas Golden Knights, right? In Las Vegas, they won the Pacific Division this year, and they dominate. And so they come out and they have a new AHL franchise. And how odd is it that it's literally 30 minutes from Vegas, a suburb of Vegas, in Henderson, Nevada. The Silver Knights are going to start their season in this year, going into 21. First season, AHL deal on there. But the one reason I'm talking about is obviously, judging by the plaque there, I'm a big Coyotes fan. Over years, used to be a Coyotes season ticket holder. And I always root for my home teams, but obviously I'm kind of sort of from Las Vegas also, so I root for them also. And but this Silver Knights logo is pretty freaking badass. Have you seen this thing?
Yeah, I saw it. You sent me the thing earlier today, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, that is really badass. I love when teams come out with good logos and.
Yeah, compare and contrast that to the Rams.
Sweaters, right?
What'd you say? I missed that.
They're called sweaters in hockey. Right?
Yeah, they are sweaters, not jerseys. Sweaters.
They're not jerseys.
But my point was going to be on this, right? Is the Rams are a multi-billion-dollar, sports franchise in Los Angeles and in the NFL, and their logo is god awful and absolutely makes you want to throw up when you see it. And the Silver Knights from Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas, 30 minutes from the Las Vegas stadium, and they develop a logo that is just completely the best thing ever. Probably quarter of the budget as the Rams. That's all. I just wanted to make a dig on the Rams.
Yeah, I knew that. For some reason, I thought I saw it, and I'm like, this is just going to be a back road into the dash on the Rams uniform again, because you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it for the 15th week in a row, so you had to
You got to come up with new angles, Adam.
Right, you just had to figure a way to get in there, get the dig at the Rams. I appreciate the effort anyway.
Wait till I get to my baseball one. Jeez.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Oh, boy.
So, but I also find it interesting because, Coyotes had the Roadrunners here for a while. Roadrunners were here first, then they left. And then the Coyotes came, and then the Roadrunners tried going again in Phoenix. It didn't work out, right? So they moved down to Tucson, I think they're in now. So, but I also find it fascinating that is Las Vegas become the hockey hotbed where they can have two teams, Now, granted, you can't get Golden Knights tickets there, and they're really expensive because NHL tickets are expensive. So this will be a more affordable way to take your family to a hockey game and things like that. And judging by the way the Golden Knights are drafting and signing younger guys, things like that, this team's going to be really talented in the AHL. But is Vegas that big of a hockey market, especially with the Raiders coming to town, that all of a sudden Vegas can support 2 hockey teams? That's what I'm kind of fascinated by. So get your gear now is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, you know what? In Vegas they're trying to become the mecca of sports, right? So
baseball's next, man. A's are going there, right? They got it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they can't even get a home radio deal. I mean, there's no support for that team, and but you got to have a dome stadium, right? For baseball in Vegas. So I mean, you're
no different than Phoenix.
4 years. You're probably 3 ways away from there. 3-4 years away from that, but I can definitely see it coming. They have to. Baseball will be the next sport in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is growing up. Now that the stigma of their problem all along was the stigma of gambling, So now that that's going away and people are willing to bet on them and stuff like that, it's
Well,
acceptable.
The rest of the states are opening up to gambling, so they, what's the difference?
Oh man, we made it this far before your internet started crapping.
No.
I'm gonna do hold music. La 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 la.
Am I back?
You're back. Oh yeah, you've been back. I was just joking around about hold music.
Confused.
So Adam,
my internet's crashing out.
I just wanted to bring that up because I love that logo. I'm going to be buying a hat, maybe a shirt. You know me. I don't buy that stuff unless I really like it. Like, no, I do not buy stuff unless I like it.
Well, wait, just don't do me a favor. Don't let Autumn buy it. Because she buys hats.
Because then they'll go out of business.
Yes, so don't let Autumn
Wait,
buy it.
first of all, who's Autumn? What?
I'm sorry. I mean intern. I'm sorry. Did not mean to give different. Didn't mean to give proper respect there at all. So make sure your intern does not buy the hat, Steve. That's all I'm asking you because it spells the end of stuff.
I was confused there for a minute.
I'm blaming the intern for the end of the XFL, by the way.
I know.
That is what I've decided.
I saw that hat sitting on my counter the other day, and I went, "Oh, DC Defenders." Oh. I also was reading this week that there's several suitors, I guess you could say, for the bankrupt league. Vince McMahon isn't the only one looking to buy them back, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, are you surprised at that? I mean, what is worth? What is the value in it, right?
Well, you get it back for pennies on the dollar, and then you can,
But how do you monetize it? Without you got to bring it back then.
I think that's his plan all along. His plan was to always bring it back. He's just looking for cheaper ways to do it.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested in how this all works out. It'll be interesting.
Right.
Maybe your DC Defenders hat will have that. Will regain its pride, Steve. My Battlehawks, if they come back, my Battlehawks will be fine.
Yeah, what were that? New York and another market, Tampa Bay. New York and another market. They were talking about maybe moving them if he got them back or whatever.
Tampa did not support it. It was the strongest ones were actually Seattle and St. Louis, I believe.
St. Louis was it Seattle too? Yeah, St. Louis was one of the sellout places. So was DC though, I thought.
Very well could have been.
Until they started sucking.
Yeah, you were too late on that one.
I was on the DC bandwagon way earlier.
I picked the Battlehawks before they started upsetting people. I
know. I used to make.
On the Battlehawks bandwagon. I'm waiting for the XFL game to come out on PS4 at some point.
You'll be waiting a while since they.
Wait a minute. I could do an expansion team in Madden and change it to the. I gotta go, Steve. I got my next 4 hours booked up.
Is that really something you could do that?
Can. Yeah, I know in past. I don't know in this current Madden, but I know in past ones because I moved the time.
You got way too excited about that. I am a little worried right now.
I'm trying to figure out if I can do it. I'm on my phone looking around trying to see if I can do it.
You got so excited. It was ridiculous how excited you got there.
I did, because I just had a great idea in my head. It was great.
Right. Well, for some reason, our Skype feed got all messed up. So for those of you watching on Facebook Live, on Periscope, or on YouTube, we are testing YouTube today. We finally got that all worked out. So nobody's watching on YouTube because I didn't announce it before. But yeah, your feed went out for some reason. I can still see it, but you're frozen. I can still hear you fine. So I threw up a picture of you. So
There you go.
your picture can wave. So I'll just explain to everybody where you went. I don't want them to think that I just turned your camera off because I don't like you or something. So
I would turn it off. My internet is froze up. At least the audio's still working.
yeah, no, you're good. So
I'm flying blind here.
So let's get right. Yeah, right. Flying blind. Well, you don't need to see my ugly mug either, so it's all good. So
But yeah, no,
as soon as we say that, right, things go haywire. Things go nuts and haywire. So I'm just laughing. Technical difficulties here. So we have one last, obviously, subject we want to talk about. So we'll get Adam back on here because it's my favorite subject lately. I've been up for hours on end. We got confirmation that Adam was all over St. Louis on the XFL there. So, yeah, it was crazy how, early on. And I always found it odd that he chose St. Louis just being from Chicago. Like, they're enemies and everything. So I found it interesting that he chose them. But he was, and he's on board. Until they get a Chicago team, he is on board with them. So I guess, right? So one last thing to talk about is hope Adam would be back for this. We'll see if we can get him back here. Obviously, he's having technical difficulties out there. And so you're going to hear everything now as everything happens live. Everything's happening live here. Adam, I was just making fun of you a little bit, so...
Oh, wait a minute. I think I have you on double now. Hold on. Can you hear me?
No, you're fine. I can hear everything.
All right. Well, now we're on the phone. We've left the computer. The computer has left us.
Oh, you went that way, so... All right.
See, I have you there, frozen.
Ah! So you got to reset the whole computer?
Yeah, I'm going to shut the computer down. We'll have to do it by phone for right this second.
That's fine. Because all we have left, really quick, because, this isn't a passionate subject of mine or anything, Major League Baseball.
Oh, boy.
What do you mean, oh, boy?
We cannot have a civilized conversation about this, Steve. You just do not see the light at all. So even our text messages because we just disagree on this, Steve. You're gonna go ahead and poo-poo on the players again, aren't you?
What? Me?
Yeah, you.
No, dude.
Oh.
No, I'm going to talk about how, get ready. Are you ready for the excitement coming your way, Adam? Coming this month. Get your calendar open. Clear your schedule, Adam. Clear it.
It's pretty clear.
Clear some more.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because ESPN is going to broadcast the Major League Baseball draft this year for the first time since 2008. You no longer have to go to MLB Network only. You can now log in, watch ESPN, because this marks the first time two networks have produced their own primetime Major League Draft coverage. June 10th, first round coverage, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. June 11th will be rounds 2 through 5, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Boom! I cannot wait to see where that high schooler in Bothton, Texas goes in the Major League Baseball draft. Woo! Is this the stupidest idea you've ever heard of? Because it's mine.
I could not believe that you came up with that much excitement. That was like a wrestling promo from the 80s, Steve. I was impressed. Well, let me tell you something, brother. There's nothing wrong with watching the draft with a player that I'm going to see in 6 years at the Major League level. And I will remember where I was when that player was drafted.
Bull crap. Bull. That's the problem, right? Like, you struggle to know every player that's drafted for your team in Major League Baseball. I mean, in National Football League, right? And all of a sudden now we're all going to...
The Bears, I have a hard time knowing what his name was.
Yeah, right.
Except his
Yeah.
nickname is the Pig for
And,
some reason.
and baseball's even worse because if they get drafted for your team, they're probably playing for your team, even if they're only on special teams. This guy's going to get drafted. You're not going to see him in the major leagues for 3 or 4 years minimum, right?
Right, and that you do get the occasional guy that like Chris Sale for the Sox was. I want to say at the end of his rookie year was brought up. I mean, you get the occasional pitcher.
But you don't remember. You're not like, oh, I remember that guy was drafted.
Oh, that's right. Like, I couldn't tell you, and I'm a diehard White Sox. I don't know who the hell they drafted last year, Steve.
And isn't it going to be worse on top of it because there was no College World Series? So normally, some guys, because usually the draft is right before the College World Series. So then you're like, oh, hey, that guy was drafted by the Diamondbacks, or that guy was drafted by the White Sox, or that guy was drafted by the Red Sox, right? Now you got none of it. It's even worse. It is just, this is the most horrible idea ever. ESPN's grasping. I understand Major League Baseball Network, MLB Network doing it because that's what they do.
That's their proprietary. It makes sense for the put it on TV, but ESPN, really?
So here, Adam. Here is ESPN's MLB draft coverage highlights. Here's what it's to include. Are you ready, baby?
I'm ready.
God, I'm stoked. Ready for this? Cameras with general managers or select personnel of all MLB clubs. Woo!
No way, I'm going to see Rick Hahn's basement. Yes!
That's my point. How many Major League Baseball GMs do you know that aren't your team? Maybe 3, and then your team, right? Maybe 3. And the ones are like Boston, Cubs, the big name teams, and then your team. You might know your team name, GM, right?
I might see Theo Epstein's living room. Ooh, I don't know. Or am I going to see? I don't know. Is it going to be Theo or is it going to be Jed for the Cubs?
It doesn't.
Stuff I need to know.
It does not say. If they're doing it that way or not. But here's some more. Jessica Mendoza conducts one-on-one interviews with several of the top players available on this year's event in a series of video packages. Woo!
Man, so I'm going to hear from the player that may or and how many busts there are in MLB, really.
That's my point. That's why I'm making fun of this.
You may never see that player again on TV for as long as you live, but he's going to get his 30 seconds on ESPN. So that's
you're gonna get Keith Oberman's essay on the top MLB players ever drafted after the 5th round. Woo!
Wow. I wonder if they could give me a story on the fastest player ever. Is a draft pick ever made in the major leagues? Like came out of
A-Rod didn't he?
I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. You know what? That's going to be my next research.
Well, Griffey did, right? Well, if they spent time in minor leagues, it was like for a week, right? But I think they were pretty much right up recently.
Well, LaGloria, right? He was quick. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they always start down there maybe for like 7 days or whatever, and then they come up usually. But yeah, I mean, those guys, if they, it's rare, yeah.
So rare. I mean,
like the Arizona.
Most players making.
I can't remember his name right now because, like I said, baseball players are way out of my deal. I'm just kind of proving my point on this draft thing. But Arizona State has a player that's supposed to be drafted number 1, and I can't even think of his name right now because I'm just drawing a complete blank. If you said it, I'd know it. But this is my point on Major League Baseball draft: is unless you're just a diehard college baseball. And like I said, this would be different if the College World Series was going on because those guys would be in your face, but they're not, and it's not, and it's ridiculous, right?
No, it is ridiculous, and this coverage.
Hold on, it gets better though.
Any of it,
Adam? It gets better.
I might watch some, I guess. I don't know.
This is going to sell you on it. You're going to want to tune in now. Are you ready for this last one?
I'm ready.
ESPN.com is also documenting the MLB draft with a special coverage section that includes McDaniel's mock drafts.
That is very interesting.
Nice. Dude, don't act like you're not logging into that garbage right there. Don't act like it.
Do you know who the number 1 overall pick was last year, Steve?
Nope, no clue.
Me either. But it was Adlai Rasmussen from Oregon State.
Do you know why I know who the number 1 pick's going to be this year? Is because he goes to Arizona State.
Okay. Andrew Vaughn. 1.
So, and my favorite part is how they split it up into 2 nights. Like, somebody was like, it works for the NFL, let's do it too.
It does not even come close to transcomposing. I mean, the two drafts are totally different. I mean, during the NFL draft, they overwhelm us with the draft, the mock drafts. You actually probably have an idea who's going in the 3rd round still. In the MLB, you really have no idea who any of these players are. Let's be real. No clue on it.
Well, that's the other side, right? So if some guy, like, the Patriots drafted some Division II guy for their first pick, right? And they run a package on him. You could at least see, like, okay, he runs it fast, whatever. You can see some of his tape, It's like a baseball player gets drafted. What are you going to see? Is 10 seconds of highlights of him hitting a ball? That doesn't tell you anything about him, because baseball is so much different of a sport visually than football is, right? Like, it's great. He had one game where he hit a lot, or a pitcher, he threw some great pitches one game or whatnot. It doesn't tell you how he comes across, and it's completely different. But then my other thing, that baseball is so exciting right now with all this news coming out. The Major League Baseball draft. I can't believe it. Finally. 2008, and I've missed it. Now it's coming back. I'm so excited. But then Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez are pursuing buying the Mets again. Last time it fell apart because they couldn't find any investors because nobody wanted to work with them. Because supposedly J-Lo had all these demands that everybody was like, we're not doing that, right? And now they're back again. Is this good for baseball to have A-Rod an owner?
I mean, it's not bad for him, is it? Overall, I mean, it creates an interest.
Does it? Does Jeter create an interest in Miami?
It creates a like people that it'll create a little bit of interest. I guess it's a story. It keeps baseball in the news. J-Lo. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, they're not going to be making baseball decisions, or if they are, they're going to be worse than the Cowboys.
No, they're going for like controlling interest in the team between the two of them.
Right, but they're not going to be making day-to-day baseball operations decisions.
You sure about that?
That's true.
It's A-Rod, man, that we're talking about here. So,
definitely.
Wow, good clouds. I like it.
Yeah.
So J-Rod is so stupid. J-Rod is willing to put up hundreds of millions of dollars of their own money, and the two now have access to high wealth bankers at JP Morgan Chase, who in turn can set them up with investors who provide the rest of the cash. By the way, the Mets are going to be sold for $2 billion plus, and that is a ridiculous amount of money. It makes sense for the Mets though, because being in New York, and stuff like that. It's just fascinating to me how, the Mets are having a hard time being sold, and it's, they've been trying to be sold for a while. And so Rodriguez and Lopez have also been exploring ways to make Citi Field more profitable and develop the areas surrounding the stadium, the Post reported. That part of their plan has supposedly gotten the attention of Patriots owner Robert Kraft and his son Jonathan, the Pats team president. So they're obviously looking for a lot of investors to come in. The way the Post puts it, the Krafts aren't interested in buying the team, but in the development plan. So basically the buildings, hotels, whatever around the stadium. Because a lot of people have been lobbying for the Krafts to buy the Mets on there. But I'm just not sold, Adam, as bring you back in here. I'm just not sold that this is a good move for baseball. I just feel like it's a power play for them.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't bring anything ownership-wise, right?
Yeah, no, they don't. But do any owners really matter in baseball as far as things go? I mean, does it really matter who owns your team?
Absolutely. First of all, Sporting News picked the worst picture. They picked a picture of Jennifer Lopez where she looks freaking older than garbage trash, which she is. But, usually makeup and TV can cover that up. And they just picked a horrible picture of her. And they picked a picture of A-Rod where he literally just walked out of the Botox office. Like, I was going to put this up because this picture is just atrocious. He's got yellow teeth. Like, his face is super shiny because they just gave him Botox and it's all stretched out and everything. And, like, it's just, they picked the worst picture of these two people ever. It's awesome. So let me see. So when they backed out like 3 weeks ago, that they backed out because they couldn't line up enough investors and that they weren't keen on buying the ball club without also acquiring the Mets TV network, SNY. So the Wilpon family didn't want to, they wanted to sell the team but keep the broadcast network and a couple other things. So since nobody else is willing to buy the Mets for this price and everything, they have now said that they'll give up a piece of the SNY network, but they're not giving up the whole thing. So, and of course, the Wilpons are the people that bought the. I don't know what you're doing there, Tiger. Thank you. Making everybody sick. The Wilpons are the owners that, of course, got in with Bernie Madoff and lost millions of dollars, and of course are famous for the Bobby Bonilla contract. So,
hey man, Bobby's still cashing that check, right? Another couple of years, $1 million you get.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd take it if I was him too. But
Right,
yeah,
Bobby,
right.
It's Bobby Bonilla Day coming up soon.
Hey, Adam, what is the most exciting play in baseball?
For me, the most exciting is the triple.
No, ask the guy behind you. Yeah, for you.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm outside. I don't know. There may be
I know. You're like, for me? I'm like, yeah. No, the guy over there in the corner.
I love the triple.
The triple play?
No, just the triple.
Oh, a
Like,
triple. Yeah, okay. I got it.
I like a guy stretching it out for third, and it's a throw.
But yeah, but you don't. But you like the. That's my point. Like, narrow it down. You like the triple where he has to slide in and the ball's there and he has to, barely beats the tag, right? You like the one where he's walking into triple, right?
No, I want the one where it's like, here comes the throw.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, little Hawk had to get out.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of baseball highlights for some reason the last couple days, and I've determined the most exciting play is the throw out at home from outfield.
Okay, I can see that.
But then you try to narrow it down, right? The one,
The throw out, it's got to be close, right?
no, that's what I mean. Like it's close. Whether you throw it out or even if you don't throw them out, the runner's safe. It doesn't matter. They're both exciting, right? But then I'm breaking it down even farther. Is it the one where the outfielder one hops it into the catcher, or is it the one where it hits a cutoff guy and then the cutoff guy throws it to the catcher?
No, I like the one where it's just a straight ass bullet.
Yeah, right. And then like one hops it, and the catcher gets it. Yeah, right. I determined.
Right at the ankle.
Yep.
Bam.
I was contemplating going with the hitting the cutoff man one because that's just an added step where a guy's got to catch it, turn, and throw it, and that's pretty.
You hit the cutoff man, Steve. The runner shouldn't have ran to begin with.
That's pretty spectacular to see that type of a deal. So,
Don't you think he's too slow? He shouldn't have went if he got time to hit the cutoff man and throw it. I mean,
well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I went with the one where they stand underneath the balls that's coming down, but they take like 2 steps back, and then they get a running start,
yep.
and then they go. Like, does it get more? Like, even if the runner's safe, that's an exciting play all around because the anticipation, play around in third, right, and all that. Like, so even it doesn't matter how the outcome is. That's got to be one of the most exciting plays ever.
Whether it's a triple or going for home, it's the excitement of the play, right?
Yeah, are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make it? Oh. Then depending.
Went too far.
Yeah, and we could have gone with like the unassisted triple play, but I wanted it to be more of a plays you see a lot of, not some random. Like the home run's a pretty exciting play, but we see it all the time. So.
Right, the triple play, it's usually a base running error at some point. I mean, it's there's something probably something went wrong for you to turn a triple play, like on the base pad.
Yeah, it's pure luck.
Those plays,
Yeah.
those plays at third or at home like that, those are exciting.
Yeah.
Those
No,
bam,
I
bam
agree.
plays.
Oh. I'm just watching a bunch of baseball highlights this week for some unknown reason to pass my time. And baseball is baseball is an extremely exciting sport when it's cut into 30-second clips.
Are you sure you're not a millennial?
I'm just throwing that out there. I am fascinated by these 30-second clips of baseball games, and they're exciting. Like, I get goosebumps. I get all excited. And then it's like, oh, that was one play in a 3-hour ball game that happened. So I'm just throwing it out there. Just being funny.
I like it.
So we also have one vote on Facebook Live saying that A-Rod and J-Rod will not be good for baseball. So
Not be good for baseball?
no.
But,
You're in the minority. You lose.
all right, I'll take the loss. I can lose on. I'm not going to go down on my stance on this one. I actually really care less who owns the damn Mets. But
Well, but it can be bad. Like I said, everybody said that Derek Jeter was going to get the not the Dolphins. Who are they? The Marlins. He was gonna help them out and everything, and they've been god awful since. So.
yeah.
So, Adam, I know you've been avoiding this. Let's touch on this. According to Confidential Players Union memo on May 29th, the day they were supposed to send a response to the owners on the owner's proposal, I'm going to inject my own words for this next part. The crybaby baseball players, and I'm going to go back to the article now. No response has been made yet to Major League Baseball's proposal, and the union is waiting, quote, key documents from Major League Baseball to support the, quote, dubious financial distress claims, unquote, MLB made to explain the estimated requested $800 million in, quote, additional givebacks, unquote.
Steve, I sent you all the paperwork on this one.
Adam, why can't the players just send the most egregious thing back? All I'm saying is hey, we're gonna play 82 games, but you're giving us $800 million in additional play. Send that to the owners. Send something. Stop hiding behind whatever you're hiding behind. Send something. Send the owner's proposal back to them, but make sure instead of pay cuts, Mike Trout gets an 80% pay raise. Do that. Send something.
Fair, and the owners aren't even sending anything that's close to being fair.
So send something unfair back. That's how negotiations work. You know how negotiations don't work? They don't work when you go, oh, that's a crappy proposal. You know what we're going to do? Oh, yeah, we're just going to sit here. They literally just Joe Wested the NFL owners. They walked back. They were like, "You're going to have our proposal on Friday," and then Friday came, and they literally just threw the owners out, and then they walked to right field, and they just turned around and folded their arms and just stared. And the owners are like, "Where's your proposal?" And the players just sat there. I don't know how.
Steve, I'm going to stay positive this week. This is going to work out. The owners and the players are both going to see the light of day.
It's got to work out in the next week, and if they're not talking, it ain't going to work out. How are you going to enjoy? Are you going to enjoy a 40-game Major League Baseball season? Because that's what we're looking at. If they don't hurry this thing up,
They need to hurry this up. They need to be playing baseball. I think the fourth is out of the question by now, right?
It's getting there because they're not having this solved Monday, Tuesday of this week.
Right.
You know, if they were talking, you'd have hope. But the players are literally saying, "Oh, give us our ball. We're going home."
I think there's got to be communication going on.
Hold on. This is my impression of a baseball player running with the ball away from the owners.
Get out of here. Cooler heads will prevail. What will happen? Baseball will come back, and I will be happy.
Here's the problem, right? Is baseball in a normal year, people miss it a lot, right? And you'll always have guys like you, the diehards, right? The guys that baseball can miss 3 seasons, and the first pitch, you'd be the first guy standing there going, "Gregor Jacks! Gregor Jacks! We got baseball!" You and 20 other of your diehards will be there going, "Mark Burley Hall of Fame! Woo!" Right? Like that's.
I want want that clipped up, Steve, because I'm putting that up there all the time. It's gonna be Mark Bradley.
Oh darn! I'm sorry, I didn't mark that. Oops, sorry, my bad.
I got it here. I got it marked.
But so that's the issue, right? Is all this stuff is you'll always have guys like you that'll watch baseball regardless, right? But this year's especially even worse because there's nothing else going on in summertime until football starts. This year, you're gonna have NBA playoffs. You're gonna have NHL playoffs going in July and August. Guys like me are gonna be like, Major League Baseball, who? And guys like me are the guys like me and worse, guys not like me, guys that watch baseball and the company buys them tickets so they have to go to a random Cubs game or Red Sox games or Diamondbacks game in like June because their boss wants to take them to a game. It's a cajillion degrees outside and at least it's air conditioned inside of it, right? And those people aren't going to come back because it's not going to be missed. In a normal year, it would be missed. But now it's not going to be missed this year. And that's the problem that you're dealing with. And blah, take that.
Yeah, I don't want to be sad today, so I'm not going to take that, Steve. I'm going to be on the bandwagon. We're going to have baseball sooner rather than later.
Also, how do you think that, dude? Like, what fantasy world do you live in that we're going to have baseball sooner than later when the players aren't even talking?
Steve, listen. If you don't believe in stuff, it can't happen. You got to believe that you can get the girl. You got to believe that you can get the job. You got to believe in baseball.
But there is a reality side to that, Adam.
What was that?
There's a reality side to that. You can believe that Santa Claus is bringing you presents, but Santa Claus ain't bringing you presents because it ain't real, Adam.
Listen, Santa just doesn't have my address, Steve. That's what's happened.
Hold on. Cover your kids' ears.
I'm going to believe in Santa. I'm going to believe in Santa, and I'm going to believe in Major League Baseball. Okay.
Hey,
That's what I'm
okay.
today.
They're not just going to. The players aren't just going to all of a sudden go, okay, we'll talk like on Tuesday, and they'll have it settled. This is another
Probably
2
talking
weeks.
Right now, Steve. We just don't know.
They're not.
They could be.
Then why would you announce you're not if you are?
But they didn't announce it though. I thought you said it was a secret memo. Isn't it secret?
Yeah. According to the players union sent a confidential memo to the players saying we're not talking. It doesn't. Yeah, the players union is lying to the players that we're not talking. You're right, Adam. Good job there, Tiger.
Well, maybe the players got mad about the union not talking to them. They made some phone calls, and now they're talking, Steve. And they're going to have some big announcement on Tuesday, and you guys will cover it Wednesday on 1580 The Fanatic at 6 p.m. Phoenix time.
We won't be.
I'll in for that one because I'll be like, Steve, I was right on Saturday's podcast.
It's the age-old union problem because that owner's contract or that owner's proposal was simply spent to split the union, right? Because the lower-paid guys were going to take a less of a pay cut than the higher-paid guys. So the hope is that the younger guys will get in there. But the problem is that Scott Boras's Scott Boras's players are all on the union committees and everything, like Max Scherzer. So Scott Boras is running this behind the scenes with his players because the big guys don't want to take the pay cuts and they're screwing the little guys because they know if that ownership thing goes to the players, a lot of players are going to vote yes for it because a lot of players don't make the millions of dollars and they're going to want it on top of it. And people aren't even talking about they're going to have an expanded roster, so owners are going to have more players they have to play and all of that stuff. I'm not on the owner's side here. I'm on the sit down and negotiate this difference, and one side is acting like giant baboon babies.
Your facial expressions on this one are great.
We need Joe West to walk into the players' union and just check them all out. Be like, he needs to get that. You saw that video where he gets the fat weight, where he leans back on the side, and then he gets his hips into it.
Freaking Joe West.
If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, Twitter, SMAC500, and you'll see the video I'm talking about. But here's the other thing. Since you are on crack or something, I want you to go get drug tested today that you think baseball's coming back. I want to see proof. Nothing going on over there. That's shenanigans.
What drugs are we testing for before
I just need to know what you're on because it sounds awesome that you think baseball's coming back in the time frame they want to. So on May 28th, so what was that, Thursday? It was the 4-year anniversary of the Terry Collins rant, where Noah Syndergaard hit. I can't remember who he hit. Who did he hit on that play? I don't remember. And then he got thrown out right away. And then Collins goes out there and it's like, we get a chance to go at him. And the ref's like, and the ump's all, we can't do it, man. We got instructions. We had to throw him out. We can't do that. Remember, you know that rant I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, so 4 years ago on Thursday. I'll post it. I'll retweet it up on Twitter at SMAC500 and the main event page so y'all can see that. If you haven't seen that glorious, because like hot mics everywhere right there, man. And that's the best. So how do you feel, Adam, as we wrap this up here? How do you feel about possibly having sound pumped into TV broadcasts for sports when they come back with no fans?
I don't think you need it, right? The ambiance, won't it be interesting to hear the dribble, to hear the clink off the rim or the backboard, the ice, the hockey stick hitting the ice, right? I mean, just this this is like one of those things where I like the period. It's kind of like playing MLB, the first game on the show, where they don't have the announcers and you just hear the crack of the bat and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, no, and I agree with you. My initial reaction is no. I don't want piped in things because I want to hear that stuff. But here's the other thing. So one of the NFL coaches came out and said, all my play calls are going to be recorded and heard. I got news for you, buddy. There are hot mics everywhere. And even this Major League Baseball one that I just retweeted at SMAC 500, we're not picking this up because microphones are on all the players. We're picking this up because of hot mics, Like we're picking up the background noise and everything. So that's what the stuff you want to hear. That's going to make it more interesting. I don't care about music being played in the NBA. I want to hear sneakers squeaking. I want to hear the players talking to each other. I want to hear some F-bombs going on. I want to hear I want to hear LeBron yelling at somebody to get in their freaking spot over there. I want to hear LeBron shake somebody up. I want to hear it all. Yeah.
Yeah, and we heard that with the league that the intern killed. We heard a lot of that. We heard a lot more clearer. And I think that broadcast where we were hearing coaches and hearing all that stuff, I think that's one of those things that I really enjoyed. And we're gonna, without having the fans there and without the noise of the background noise, that's what we're gonna hear too.
Yep.
So yeah, no. So my initial reaction is no. But if they want to do it, it's the other side of it is you're going to be watching something, right? And you're going to be watching it, and you're not going to see anybody in the stands. You're going to see nothing there, and then you're going to hear it, and it's going to make it look fake. See what I'm saying? Like it's going to make it look like it's being set up. It's fake. Just do it natural because otherwise it's going to give the impression that you're forcing stuff or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? The WWE piped in some music and some crowd noise the other day. Piping crowd noise. So like when Kurt Angle came out the other night, they had the "You Suck" chant coming back when he walked out, and it just seemed wrong.
No, we talked about that on WrestleMania or Money in the Bank. It was Money in the Bank when R-Truth came out. He does that thing with the crowd. He's like, "What's up?" And the crowd repeats it, and they didn't do it, and he just kept going like they were. It gives a phenomenal, and it makes it look not fake. Like just do it. I don't know. That's my whole take on it. Don't do it, but if they do it, I'm not going to be opposed to it until I hear it. That's my concern is it's going to make it look completely fake.
Go back and watch Raw for Monday at all, or see highlights of it when they pipe in the noise. It's just I'm not a fan of it. If we're going to do it, just do it naturally. Everybody knows that there's no fans, so why put it in that at that point?
Well, that's what I mean. You're going to be watching it and not see fans, but hear them there. It's going to be ridiculous. I don't like it at all. But
wait, we agree on something. Ooh.
What?
Market. We agree on something.
What? That's not allowed.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know. We have to look at the bylaws. and see.
Right. So, Adam, Wednesday nights, 6 p.m., 1580 The Fanatic as the radio show. Of course, I am on there right now. Adam, unfortunately, you can announce it here. You have to take a hiatus for a few weeks, but you're always welcome back on it, as I told you, and you know. So we'll find somebody to fill in there. I know Chief's been doing a good job, and we'll see where that goes. But obviously, you'll be here on Saturdays. We might have to change some times around coming up for you, and we'll obviously announce that. You have anything you want to say about that? I know a lot of times things aren't said. You want to say anything about it? Or?
Yeah, just pay attention to our social media and different things. Probably going to be pushing it back a couple hours on Saturday or changing the day, whatever. But we'll definitely get you once a week here on. I guess hopefully be able to do some more quick little things throughout the week as sports picks up here. And there's more for us to dive into on a weekly basis. Definitely check out the 1580 Show. Chief has been doing a fantastic job as always, giving you his best Gomer Pyle imitation that he has.
Well, you know. Don't announce it. Nothing's official on who's taking over yet or anything.
I'm not saying take over. I'm just saying he's been doing a good job. He's been there the last couple of weeks. Doing his best Gomer Pyle stuff. That's all I got.
Right. So, Adam, where can everybody reach you at, man?
Reach me at Adam Michaels 05 on Twitter. Always love hearing that. Check out my hockey information up there.
Right. Once playoffs start, Adam's going to be covering hockey like you've never seen.
Like no tomorrow.
So, of course, you can find the podcast at gestaltproduction.com. Just click on the main event podcast link. We're working on some other stuff, like Adam said, when sports comes back, do some quick hits after some big games or some exciting or controversial stuff, like, something happens in an NHL hockey game. Somebody stabs somebody with a skate. We want to go live, next day and discuss that or something, stuff like that. If baseball ever comes back, we can talk about ejections and stuff and things. I'm sorry. If 2021 baseball comes back in 2021, we can discuss stuff like that. So definitely.
Positivity in this world, please. We need some positivity these days.
Yeah, positive ain't coming back unless they start talking. You can reach me, of course, at SMAC500. And then, of course, at the Main Event Pod for all of the podcast stuff and all radio show. And, of course, Gestalt Production. Gestalt Production is being changed around right now. I was working on it a little bit yesterday. Adam, we're going to start requiring you to do this blog. I told you we want to start doing, we're both going to start doing a quick little blog and write about stuff that happens in the week, just small little stuff. And I'm going to start holding you to that so you can put it out every week. So.
All right, last week I thought about it.
This
week I can plan it.
That's step one.
Next week I can research it.
Because if you were part of the MLBPA, you wouldn't even be thinking about it right now. So you would just be saying no. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Facebook Live, of course, on Periscope, on Twitter. And this week we were live for the first time on YouTube. We'll go back and watch that, make sure everything is good on it as we go forward. And, of course, we can send that link out for their time as well. So thanks, everyone, for watching. Adam, anything else?
Nope. Baseball will be back.
Wednesday, 6 p.m., 1580 The Fanatic, of course, and we do stream that on the Facebook as well. On there, so definitely tune in. Otherwise, the plan is right now, see you next Saturday. See ya.